How am I able to lucidly explain all these things to you? That I'm some high lama looking down on you? No. I am you. I am you. I think like you. I have the same problems as you. The only difference is because I'm given the name Rinpoche, and I'm thrown robes, and I'm given a throne, and I'm shown respect, I'm not allowed to act like other people. I'm supposed to act like it doesn't affect me. You guys have that option. You can jump out there and scream and shoot people in the university, 32 of them to be exact. You can do whatever you want, and it's all right. But the minute Tsem even slurps when he drinks, he's not enlightened at all. He's just a slob. Because I have a name and I have a title, but I'm not allowed to be ordinary. Why am I not allowed to be ordinary? Because everybody has a projection. Everybody has a thought of how a Rinpoche should be. If we talk to everybody in this room and interview them separately, alone, without listening to another peer, they would have a different version of how a Rinpoche should act. Some people say, hey, it's no problem. It's no problem. Rinpoche can go to disco with me and hang out, we can dance, and he's still enlightened how to go to Dharma teaching. Some people say, oh no. No, he needs to sit on the throne and live on there and stay there and meditate on there and camp out there and sleep there and also teach us there. Just stay on the throne, never get off. That's what Rinpoche is supposed to be. And some people be like, well, we can have both. Some people say, oh, Rinpoche has hair. Rinpoche don't have hair follicles on. Does that mean he's not qualified because he has hair? But the other Rinpoches we saw didn't have hair. Maybe they were bald, I don't know. Oh, does that mean that if he has hair, he can't teach? Or he teaches less? You have hair, does that mean you're less than who you are if you don't have hair? He doesn't wear the robes. You wear the robes in Malaysia. You run around Malaysia wearing 15 meters of maroon robes, and let's see what happens to you. You look like a fat Indian woman with a maroon sari. That's what's going on. Hare Krishna. There's nothing wrong. But what's the type of people you're trying to penetrate? What's the type of people you're trying to talk to? If you're in robes, you better make sure your students know how to serve you correctly. They know how to drive you correctly. They know how to set up your throne. They know how to make your arrangements. If you're in robes, you can't do anything yourself. Why? If you do anything, the minute you see a monk in a shopping mall, consumerism. So you gotta make sure your students are not blurred. They go to the shopping center, buy you the right cottage cheese. And sometimes lamas are incredible. Sometimes lamas will use food and very simple ways to train up their students. Sometimes they'll send them out many times to get the same food or different foods. They're not attached to money. They're not attached to their house. They're not attached to themselves. Not attached to anything. But suddenly they're attached to food. So people who have higher intelligence think, how come he only does that to one person or two people, not me? And then other times he's not. How can someone be attached to food and nothing else? It's ridiculous. And is your lama 350 pounds? 400 kgs? Koki looks at himself. Yeah, I saw him. He looked at himself and said that. Well, how can that be? Maybe he's checking the attitude of that person out, how they work, how they operate. Maybe. You think lama's crazy? Definitely not. See, the lama has to do one action that fulfills the needs of everyone. He has to do something that fulfills the needs of most people. And there's going to be some people who are disgruntled. It's always like that. Why? Level, skill, from the lama and the perceiver. If the perceiver's level is very high, everything will be perfect. If the perceiver's side is very low, everything will be questionable. From the lama side, if the lama's level is high, everything he does still can be questioned. Imagine Buddha Shakyamuni walking up and down Bukit begging for food these days to be arrested. Not allowed anymore. Can you imagine Buddha opening up a retreat center in a rubber plantation, no license, restrictions for building statues and all that? Of course. He'd be slapped with the same thing. Imagine Buddha today standing up saying, I'm a Buddha. They say, yeah, right, get a life. Times have changed. Methods have changed. Lamas who are willing to change their methods like Chugin Kimbo. Lamas who are willing to change their outlook, their robes, their criteria, how they talk, how they act. They are very kind. You know why they're very kind? They risk their own reputation and life and life's hope to bring the Dharma to people
will ordinarily not be touched. And the people who criticize will be people who don't fit that style. And their level is to criticize. But definitely people who benefit. I'm telling you, I've heard about him when I was in America many years ago. I've heard nothing but nasty things. Nothing. When I was on the Dharma circuit in Los Angeles, I was at the center there. I heard nothing but nasty things about you. Nothing. I never heard one good thing. And I'm not going to repeat what I heard because it's very, very bad. Over and over. And people actually said, don't go to him. People are running away. On and on and on. And now I'm studying about him. Now I hold my hands when I read about him. Sometimes it brings a tear to my eye.
But it wasn't like that 30 years ago. I never criticized him either, because I know ex-students of this. I know them. So my point is I am not promoting him because I have reached this level. I am not saying he's wonderful because I'm a little chip off the old block. On some levels, I have seen through what he is doing. Through 30 years of being in Dharma experience. 30 years. I've seen through. Not all, because I'm not at that level, but I've seen through. I've seen through much more than many people here, if I may say so with respect. Much more. So I've seen through. And therefore, I can accept. I don't accept because I'm disillusioned. I don't accept because I don't have anything smart to say. I accept because I have seen through. And some more, his actions has proven beneficial to many. To many. So therefore, usually these kind of beings are not considered legends in their own time, or they're wonderful, or they're Mahasiddhas. Actually, usually when they pass away. Even in Christian tradition. Someone like Joan of Arc was only granted sainthood many years after her death. Even Mother Teresa still under observation. Many years. But during their lifetimes, no. When Mother Teresa first did her things, if you read her book, it was totally out of the question. Nobody accepted. There was no such order, no such thing. It went through many years of proving that she got the Pope's approval, many years. He's very kind at that time. But my point is, in the Chinese tradition, you have Zai Kong. Nobody thought he was a master during his life. Now people make statues of him, worship him, and say he's the emanation of Avalokiteshvara. Because why? He dared to be different. I like that style. I'm not like them. I'm not like Mother Teresa and Zai Kong, that kind of level of spiritual maturation. But I like that style. Do you know why? I like it when she gives him through pee all over Akon Rinpoche's altar. I liked it. I liked it very much. Because that's something I would like to do, but not around here. You don't pee on Malaysians' altars. You're lucky if they pee back on you, they call the police on you. But in America, you can get away with it. In Scotland, you can get away with it. They go, whatever. It's his way of expressing art. That's different over there. So, I like that kind of directness. I like that kind of energy. I like it very much because one thing that bothers me very much about others and myself that really, really disturbs me to the core, let me tell you the secret, is hiding behind a facade. Pretending that people don't know who you really are or how you really are. Or trying to use all types of games and words and explanations to cover who you really are when it's so clear to see. That really bothers me. And some people do that for years and years and years. I know some people who do that with me for over decades. They'll still cover up. They'll still not change and transform. So for those people, there's nothing left but wrathful actions. Why? Death is very near. Death is not far. So you have to use actions to help them before it's too late. Why? Peaceful means didn't work anymore. And that's the compassion of the Lama. How does that happen? Because whatever you manifest them is at the Lama's own expense. So the Lama is willing to accept the expenses behind that kind of radical action in order to help that being. There's nothing to understand or not understand. It is a method. Why is there that method? Because they're that type of beings. So the Lama may be very peaceful with some and give gifts and smile. With some, very radical, depending on the person and the time. If some person has been acting negatively towards the Lama, towards the Dharma, towards others, again and again, year after year after year, basically almost lying. Karmic retribution is very heavy. The Lama will always show a wrathful face towards that person. Why? Because the Lama cares. To ordinary beings, it's viewed as frustration or anger from the Lama. That's their level. That's how they will perceive it. That's how they will perceive it. When the Samji screamed and yelled at people and beat monks, we folded our hands and prostrated and secretly hoped we'd be beaten, scared to death. But we secretly hoped. Because there are some monks that Samji beat, and some monks he didn't. In the same room, the next day, the monks that were beaten died. We make their diseases manifest. Well, that's very well known. Even sometimes the fierce protectors like Sedra monks, very fierce with some of the monks. Sometimes they're very fierce with some of the monks. They actually catch them and throw them. Catch them here in front of thousands of monks and throttle them and throw them and say, oh, but you're supposed to be compassionate, etc. Next day we find out the monk is disrobed. He was deceiving people. So his karma is very heavy, etc. was purifying. Purifying by his humiliation. Nobody knew. We've seen that in the monasteries. It's very rare Setra comes and talks nicely. It's very rare. Unless it's one of the high lamas who's worked very hard for others. If he comes in the presence of Setra in the monastery, in an oracle monk, Setra calms down. Calms down. Setra is very, very fierce. But to a person, he doesn't need to be fierce. He's not fierce. When I went up, when there was a whole bunch of Rinpoches, we were sitting on chairs and a whole bunch of lamas in the monastery, we went up to the audience. I was trembling. I'm not kidding, I was trembling on my knees. Like when I go up there, is it going to be nice to me or am I going to be humiliated? And there goes my ego, not wanting. I want to be enlightened, but I don't want to go through the process of being enlightened. Isn't that so silly? I want to be happy. I want to be enlightened. I want peace. I want to be a Mahasiddha. I want to benefit the world. I want to have bodhicitta. I want to be a Buddha, but don't make me go through the hard work. Let me get enlightened on my couch watching a DVD, eating a pizza, making love to my couch and sofa. So let me be a Buddha, but please don't make me go through it. Huh? Can I please be a professor of physics, but I don't have to go to school, just buy me the degree? There are some people out there who think like that. Buy it for me, brava. Buy it for me, how much? There are people out there like that. So imagine you want to get enlightened, but you don't want to go through the methods and actions. So let me put it simply, and I base it on Bodhisattva Chaiyavatara. I'm not making it up. I can't make it up. There's too many smart people. If you really love yourself, and you really love the people around you, and you really love the people that love you and have helped you and have been very kind to you, you work very hard for the Dharma. You work very hard on the inner Dharma of transformation. And you put yourself in situations where your ego will be battered and smashed. You put yourself in that situation where your ego will be battered and smashed. If you love yourself and others. Why? If you operate from an egoless space, you won't create sufferings for others and yourself. If you operate from an egoless space or less ego, the results will be different. Ego-based motivation, ego-based results. Egoless motivation and action, egoless results. So what happens is, how can we not become changed or make a difference in our lives from the people's lives that we love? If we say we love them, but we continue to torture them. If we say we love them, we don't transform our habits. If we say we love them and we really want to do Dharma and we really want to help and we don't transform an iota of ourselves. In fact, we escape from ourselves. We escape from the actual place or path or persons or beings or vehicle that can transform us. Impossible. That's for whatever religion you're in. Or even if you're not in a religion. Don't think, oh, okay, I'm not against religion. That's for anyone. Anyone even not in religion. Even if you're not in religion, you can't escape from yourself. You can't get away from yourself. So if we do things, and then egoless or ego-based is not religious words either. It's not religious words either. Ego means doing things from a selfish attitude. If we do things from a selfish attitude, the result will be selfish results. And we always have to protect our results. And the results are not lasting. So what's very important is what through study and through time and through understanding we know is really the priority in life. So that's why I always say I start on the basis of love of ourselves, love of others, love of people that love us to repay their kindness. That's why I always focus on that, because no matter how you go on the teachings, it leads back to them. How much you care about others is how much effort you put in. How much effort you don't put in is how much you don't care about others, no matter how pleasant you look, how beautiful you look, or how nice you speak, or how your time just passes by. If you cannot change your body actions, your facial actions, your body language, and you cannot change your mind, you cannot change your effort, you cannot change your laziness, if you can't change any of that, no matter how many times you say, I care, I love, or you have Guru devotion, it will come out the opposite. Why? It's plain to see. It's very plain to see. If we say there's a Dharma talk, a Dharma activity, you're spontaneous to go to learn and listen. It means you want to transform. Some people, when you say there's a Dharma talk or Dharma teaching or puja, they don't have time, they're busy. They're trapped. They're overwhelmed. They have to make a living, etc., etc., etc. But if that's actually for entertainment or parties or fun or meeting or social events, they have plenty of time. They'll squeeze the time. On the way to work, they'll make the time. They're good or bad? No, it's not a judgment of good or bad. It's how we can examine the state of the person's mind. In fact, we can have more compassion for them. Individually, it's different. For those who we can approach the soft way, approach soft way. Those we need to approach the wrathful way, approach wrathful way. Because why? Different types of minds. If, in fact, it says in the Bodhisattva vows, if you're taking the Bodhisattva vows and you don't break the vow, you have to break it to help another if you broke a vow. Because it's comparable. If you don't break and you're supposed to help someone, you break the vow. In the Bodhisattva vows.